Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, Bookables. I have a new setup, yay! So I have new bookshelves. Long story, my bookshelves used to be in the garage because we had a second child, so I had to make that my office area, library area into her room, obviously, so I had to move my bookcase in the garage. It just wasn't working out, the lighting wasn't great, even though I say that today the lighting's not that great because it's raining, but it just wasn't very practical, so I bought some new shelves for my living room. I have 3 of them, and I still have my book cart in here. I might add another one here soon. I'm gonna do a bookshelf tour somewhat soon, but for right now, this is my new setup, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying having a living room to look at my books. It's nice to not have them in the garage. Obviously, this is gonna take some time for me to figure out exactly my angles and all that stuff, but here we are, new setup. I'm enjoying it. Lighting, you know, it's raining today, so it's not the best. I'm hoping lighting will be good regardless because I have 2 windows right here, but since it's raining, you know how it goes. Either way, you're not here to hear about that. You're here to hear about the books I read in the month of May. For May, yet again, I read 8 books. That kind of seems like my normal. It seems I read 2 a week, which I'm good with. It took me a while to get there, and I'm happy with it, so I'm good. As always with these videos, I'm going to start with my least favorite book I read of the month, working up to my favorite. So let's get into it. First up, I have one that I was so anticipating. I even put it on my 5-star predictions. I was like, this is going to be amazing. I'm so excited. And it is sadly my least favorite book of the month, and that is The Daydreams by Laura Hankin. This one, I think I just went into it with all these expectations of it being like Daisy Jones and the Six, and it's so not. So in case you are feeling that vibe and you think, I want another book similar to that, it's really not. This is a book that follows a character, Kat, and it takes place in 2 different timelines. She is a lawyer now. She's doing great. She's moved past this thing that was in her past. Obviously, that's why it's called the past. She was part of this like show that was very reminiscent of like Glee, a lot of Disney shows that had musicals like Hannah Montana. It was called The Daydreams, and they had 2 really great seasons, and then they had a season 2 like live finale, and everything went to crap. And it's been 15 years now. She's moved past it, but now one of her cast members has sparked up interest in having a reunion, and she reluctantly decides to go for it. So it's all about the reunion, also figuring out what exactly happened in the past that made this whole season 2 blow up, you know, a blow up, and it just, there's so many different things. I have a review video where I talk about this book in that video, and I really go into it. I'd say if you're interested really into the insight of like child stars of like, you know, kind of Disney, Nickelodeon kids and how kind of, you know, they did them dirty with putting too much pressure and expectations on them, check it out. But other than that, like I didn't really like the writing. I thought it was very just all over the place. I didn't think even the point of view of Kat was necessary. It should have been from another character's point of view, me personally, but it was okay. I gave it a 2.5 out of 5, which I know I don't give a lot of books 2, but I really, honestly, it was just kind of okay, and that's how I felt about this one. Next up, we have another kind of disappointing read, and that is Me and Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune. This is her second book. Her first book, Every Summer After, came out last year, and everybody loved it. I actually really liked it. This one, I did not. This is about a character named, I forget her name because I don't have the book anymore. But either way, she is now an adult. She is running her mom that just passed away's like kind of resort. It's kind of like a Dirty Dancing resort where it's like a bunch of cabins, things like that. And she's never wanted to do this. You know, her mom's always had dreams of her taking it over one day and just having the family business because it used to be her parents, but she has never wanted to do that. I think Fern's her name. And Fern's never wanted to do that. She's always wanted to be a city girl, be in Toronto because it takes place in Canada. And, you know, now she's back here after her mom's passed away and she has to decide whether or not she wants to run this resort. So we have that going on. We also have a guy named Will who has come back from her past, who is now a consultant for her mom's resort that she needs help with because it's not doing well financially. She met Will 10 years ago. They shared one amazing day together. They decided, you know, our life's kind of a mess right now, so why don't we meet 1 year later at the resort and, you know, kind of start fresh, like let's be together. And what do you know, Fern shows up, but Will doesn't. But now he's back here, you know, 10 years later being the consultant, and there's a lot of, you know, feelings involved still because she doesn't know why he never showed up and ... This book has a lot going on with it. Fern trying to decide whether or not she wants to even run this resort. She has these feelings for Will, which I just never got I don't know. I never understood because they shared one day together 10 years ago. I'm like, man, that must have been a hell of a day. And we go back and forth to see that day through times. And I'm just like, why? I don't know. I didn't love the love in this, honestly. Like the passion wasn't there. I wasn't feeling the chemistry. I gave it a 3 out of 5. It was just kind of okay. Next up, we have The Mostly True Story of Tanner and Louise by Colleen Oakley. This was a total whim of a read for me. I've read one other Colleen Oakley book. It's kind of a take on Thelma and Louise. So Louise is actually an older woman. She's in her 90s. She's not doing well. And her kids decide, you know, let's hire kind of somebody to like watch over her, take her to her doctor's appointments, things like that. And that's where Tanner comes in. She is a 20-something-year-old. She has to drop out of college because she had an injury that makes her not be able to do her scholarship anymore because she was a soccer player. And she's just kind of moved in with Louise to like take her to the doctor's appointments, and she's just not having a good time with life. And then, you know, what do you know? One night, Louise wakes Tanner up and she's like, we gotta go. Like, we gotta go across the country to help my friend, and we have to go. It's like a big old epic road trip where it's kind of like, what's Louise hiding? Did she used to be a jewelry thief? Was she on the run? And it was fun. It wasn't amazing. I'd say if you were interested in a road trip book, it definitely fits the bill on that. But other than that, it was just kind of a quirky, fun book, which I think Colleen Oakley is known for. So I gave it a 3 out of 5. It wasn't horrible by any means. It just wasn't 100% my cup of tea. We have Summer Reading by Jen McKinley. Yes, that's it. This is a super fun book about a character named Samantha who is back at Martha's Vineyard and at her family's like tiny cottage. She is a chef, not college, cottage. Words. She is a chef, and she recently does not have her job anymore because she couldn't move up in the company. So she is now spending the summer back with her dad and her half brother, who is 14, and she's like 30 something. And so she's watching him while her dad and her stepmother go on this cruise, and it's all about her summer there, trying to figure out what she wants to do with her life, what she, you know, her next step is. She also meets a guy named Bennett, who is the library director, because she has to take her stepbrother, half-brother, her brother. She has to take her brother to the library every day because he's part of a robotics camp, which is awesome. And she meets Bennett there, and he is a book nerd and she is not, but somehow they have this connection together and they start talking and things happen. This was a cute one. Again, I gave this one a 3 out of 5. It wasn't overly steamy. It wasn't overly crazy romantic. It did have a lot going on in it, which is why I don't think I loved it as much as I did. We had Samantha, you know, trying to figure out what she wants to do with her life. She's also dyslexic, so she struggled with that a lot. And this is really great dyslexic representation. I think the author even chose a different font for this that was more dyslexic friendly, and she even like put words bold instead of in italics because I've heard that's better. So she did her research, which is awesome. So I think that's great for that representation. That's awesome. But she's doing with that. She's also trying to figure out her relationship with her brother, who's a lot younger than her, that she's never really known. And then she has a relationship going with Bennett. So she's got a lot going on. Bennett also has a lot going on. He's trying to find his father that he never met. So this one, I feel like it just had a lot. It couldn't decide really what it wanted to be. Did it want to be a romance? Did it want to be a woman's fiction? Did it want to be like a brother and sister relationship? It was just a lot. So I gave it a 3 out of 5. It was, I think the setting was really great. It being on Martha's Vineyard, which was fun. So I gave it a 3 out of 5. It was cute. I just didn't love it. I have another cutesy book, and that is When in Rome by Sarah Adams. I read this one just at the end of May, and it was cute. This one has been going around a lot. It's a very short one. It's like only 300 pages. This one follows a character, Amelia, also known as Ray. She is this huge kind of mega pop star. I kind of just picture Taylor Swift, honestly, I read her. And she is just she's burnt out on life. She is getting ready for this mega tour, and she's just tired. And she decides to take after one of her favorite people ever, Audrey Hepburn's advice, and go to Rome, but not Rome, Italy, Rome, Kentucky. And so she goes there, her car breaks down, and she is stuck in the middle of this guy's yard named Noah, and somehow he lets her stay in her guest room, and things happen. This was a sugary sweet novel. If you want kind of a clean romance with a really big small town atmosphere, this one's great for that. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. It was cute. It was adorable. I love the relationship between Noah and Ray. And, you know, even though Ray's a pop star, you don't get that in this book because she is in this small town and she's just discovering who she is for the first time and not being on someone's beck and call all the time because she's always busy doing things for other people, you know? But it was cute. It wasn't like super amazing. I wanted more pie making because the guy owns a pie shop and we didn't get much pie making. Like, where's the pies? But I liked it but it was still cute, and I definitely will read the kind of sequel continuation novel of this. Then we have True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren. This is the sequel companion novel to The Soulmate Equation, also by them. I liked Didn't Love. So this one is about Fizzy, who is in The Soulmate Equation, Jess. That's all about her. Fizzy is Jess's best friend. Fizzy is a romance author. At the beginning of this book, she's giving this commencement address and she's talking about true love, and she's realized that she has never experienced true love, and so that makes her go into this really bad writer's block. Meanwhile, we also have a guy named Connor who is a documentary filmmaker, and his company decides, you know what, we're not going to do documentaries anymore. We're going to be reality television, like total 180. And Connor has to do this dating show, and so he decides, you know what? My ex-wife reads Fizzy's books, and she seems like she would be a perfect contestant for this dating show. So they center this whole dating show around Fizzy, and she has different types of archetypes, guys, like vampire, cowboy, hot dad, nerd, you know, you get the thing. And each week, the audience will vote off who they think she does not have chemistry with, and at the end, it gets revealed, like, who she kind of ends up with. And also there's this DNA match, which is what the Soulmate Equation was about. Bear with me here. The Soulmate Equation was all about like this DNA duo thing that could determine your match and put them like base match, platinum matches, things like that. And so at the end of the reality show, we figure out who the audience thinks she has the best chemistry with and who the DNA duo really results do. So that's a lot. This, for all that talk about reality dating, it really wasn't about reality dating. It was just kind of about Fizzy and Connor, who so clearly have chemistry up the wazoo when they meet, but they have to fight it because he's her producer and she's the star of reality shows. The whole book, they're fighting their feelings, and you so clearly just want to shout at them and be like, just kiss already, like, just do it. And so that's what the whole book is about. So in case you're like, I love books about reality dating and things like that, this one, you know, it is about that, but it doesn't talk much about it. It's more about Fizzy and Connor's kind of will they, won't they, but we shouldn't kind of thing. But overall, I liked it. It was good. I gave it a 4 out of 5. Did enjoy it. I did enjoy this one a little bit more than The Soulmate Equation. Then we have another kind of sequel, and that is Unfortunately Yours by Tessa Bailey. This is the sequel to her book that came out literally a few months ago called Secretly Yours, which I did not really like at all, but I'm happy to say I really enjoyed this one. So this book follows a character named Natalie, who is the sister of Julian, who is the star of the first book. A lot to keep up with. She is, you know, in Napa, wine country, if you will, and she does not want to be there because she is known as like New York's like stockbroker. She's really smart with that, but she made a bad call and now she's out of a job and out of money. So she needs some money. And what do you know? Her inheritance would give her a lot of money, but that pesky inheritance, you have to be married to get that, which is just so stupid. So she does a deal with this guy named August, who is a new kind of wine guy in Napa, and his wine is horrible. He's opened up his own like winery, and it's just not good. And he needs money because he needs to get better with making wine. And so they strike up a deal to get married and to get that money, but to be, you know, obviously not really married. Obviously, this is a hate to love romance. August and Natalie do not get along, but their feelings are so insane. Like the chemistry is like beating at the door this entire book. I loved it. Gave it a 4 out of 5. Steamy times, wine times. I loved it because the first book in this series follows Hallie and Julian, and I did not feel the chemistry at all with them. But this one, it is there. It is steamy, and I loved it. 4 out of 5. And the last book I want to talk about is my favorite of the month, and that is Wayward by Amelia Hart. So this month I read a lot of romance, and then I read this historical novel, which is so unlike me. But I mean, I had to buy this book because the cover is freaking stunning. Like, it's just beautiful. So this book is also very intricate to explain. It has 3 different timelines going on. We have 1619 about a character named Athla who is waiting trial for a murder of a local farmer, and she, you know, they think she's a witch. We also follow 1942 Violet, who is trapped in her family's grand house, and she longs for a robust education, but she can't really get out. Then we have 2019 Kate, who flees London from her abusive marriage. They all go to this Wayward cottage where they all have ties to, because you guessed it, it's kind of, they're all witches, if you will. So they all discover that they're kind of linked to one another and their story goes on. I'm explaining this horribly, but let me see. Weaving together the stories of 3 extraordinary women across 5 centuries, Wayward is an astonishing debut and enthralling novel of female resilience, which I agree with. All 3 of these women had different things going on. One was being accused of being a witch and put on trial. One was very odd and different, and her father didn't want her to ever leave her house. And one was in an abusive relationship that she had to flee. And they all kind of learn about their history and their past being a Wayward, and I loved it. It was very much magical realism where it wasn't overtly magic, but it was kind of, you know, it kind of weaved itself in there, and each of the stories was very interesting and I was very committed to, and it all weaves together at the end. I loved it. I gave it a 5 out of 5. It's a short book, which is also really great. It's only like 330 pages. I think the story wraps up nicely. I loved it. I really did. It's a great kind of easy fantasy yet magical realism yet historical book that I loved and would highly recommend. So there you have the 8 books I read in the month of May. Overall, really good reading month. I'll keep up with my trend of reading 8 books every month. That would be just awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will figure out this lighting situation when I can. Bye.